Oh, Blizzard. What are you like? How's everyone doing today? PTR down. Well, it's not the end of the world. Usually, what happens with the PTR is they'll update it once a week. Usually they do this on a Tuesday, which is their general schedule. It's why I choose to stream the PTR on the Wednesday. So what I imagine they're doing is they are uploading, like, the final, like, rendition of the PTR, I suppose, with all the dungeons included, because last week it was just the 4 legacy, 3 legacy, 4 legacy, the legacy dungeons, and it was also the Operation Floodgate, when this week it should be all the dungeons. I was on it earlier. I was on it like an hour ago. So, yeah, I guess they've moved it to Wednesday, which is a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. I still have a bunch to go over beforehand anyway. And then fingers crossed it's up. I can't control what Blizzard do. I don't know what their usual turnover time is, to be honest. Oh, that's good, Travis. Enjoying your day off. Oh, love a day off. That's weekends for me. Well, I don't know. Do you count streaming as a day off? I count it as a day off. I'm here having fun. So, yeah. Weekends. Yeah, so what have I got in front of me right now? So this would have been a little bit better if I had my PTR character up as well. So yeah, I pre-planned this all. I was like, oh man, setting up this whole thing to go through all of the APL theory crafting builds and stuff like that. Show them off in game. Thanks, Blizzard. I appreciate you. But not the end of the world. Not the end of the world just yet. We'll see how they're doing with the PTR. If push comes to shove, I will go on live and play a bit of live. But the moment PTR is back up, I will go straight onto the PTR because I don't really play live at the moment. I just play live for raid logging almost, which is, yeah, not ideal. Not really how you want to play the game. But yes, we have a date, right? We have a date for Season 2. New expansion comes out on the 25th, which is cool, right? I mean, I don't know why they gave us such short notice. They were like, they wouldn't say for ages when the expansion, when the season was coming out. They kept like saying, oh, it's coming soon, and they wouldn't give an official date until 2 days ago, maybe? Actually, it was yesterday. Last evening, they put out the date. They were like, right, 25th, 2 weeks from now. Good luck, everybody. So that's when the next tier comes out, Undermine. But not the raids or anything. So they're doing like the usual 1 week where you get to like do all the story, do all the content, do a couple of delves, and then straight into Season 2 where they release all of the raids, all the Mythic Plus, and it all comes out at once, which is usually how they do it. It was a little bit different with the start of this expansion where they gave us the 2 weeks, which was okay. I didn't actually mind that too much because it allowed you to actually enjoy the story a little bit more. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but by the end of that 2 weeks, I was just like, let me in the raid now, you know? So, not too, like, bothered by the 1 week. It just gives you time to actually, you know, do some driving. Well, driving around Undermine. Play out some rep, I suppose, things like that. Just casual, I guess, but yeah, it's almost like a week of just prepping yourself. I think Mythic Zeros come out in that first week. I'm not 100% on that, but I don't know what the item level of that is going to be. Basically, the first week is like, if you have any ults that you're desperate to level up, you got this grace period. Send them. Hey, Gengar, how you doing? Oh, you're back from your trip? How was it? Hey, Harry, welcome to the chat. So, yes, I'm a little bit all over the place. I was completely thrown off by the fact that PTR is not up at the moment. Little bit annoying, but it's fine, because I wasn't actually going to start off with PTR stuff. I was going to start off with what's on my screen. These big old raid bot beta builds. So, yes. Basically, 2 days ago, Sunday, was on the Peak of Serenity, there's someone called Kholer, who's like genius theory crafter. He does like almost all of the Windwalker like APL theory crafting, like God Center Windwalkers, to be honest. And he finally was able to get like copies of what our AoE is looking like at the moment. The Conduit, Shadow Pan, best talents, builds whatsoever. I mean, I'm gonna caveat this now, guys. Before, like, big disclaimer, like I usually do with anything PTR related. It is still the PTR period, although there are these APL builds and you have like all your best in slot gear down on a piece of paper right now. You know, changes could come tomorrow. Changes could come in the next hour. If the PTR's down, that means that they're obviously implementing some new stuff as well. So for all I know, they're just gonna curveball and be like, okay, here are some Windwalker nerfs. Panic. But you know what I mean? Like, so these are like, as the PTR stands right now, these are like best talents for AoE. What you'd want to be wearing at max eye level, stuff like that. But obviously, it's all open to change. That's just how it works. But it's good to have some rough idea now. Like, actually on paper, what does the computer say I should build? Because it's all good and well to be trying out new things, and that's what the PTR is for. And I spent a lot of time doing, like, trying out new builds, trying out new gear. But at the end of the day, when we were all just kind of low-key waiting for the computer to tell us, what do I wear? And as it stands, these two sets. So what you might notice initially is that both sims have the same gear sets on. That's fine. However, there is the idea that it's looking like Shadowpan's probably going to be using haste, then mastery, and then like crit verse, like really minimally, whereas Conduit the Celestial's looking to prefer mastery, then haste, and then, you know, crit verse at the very bottom. So these are just kind of like standard builds at the moment, like standard best in slot. For any of you key-eyed observers, two-hander. Yeah. I'm still. Oh, you're still in Netherlands. Oh, fair. Thank you for tuning in. Delves week 1. Yeah, I don't know if Delves are going to be week 1 in the same way that it was at the start of the expansion. Remember that we had Delves, but then you held off doing your proper Delves until the morning of the actual season release, because they remember how everything was kind of locked. Like the higher item level stuff was locked behind the keys, the bountiful keys. I'm not sure if that's the same system. I haven't looked into it too much. I've got a lot of homework to do before the season comes out, to be honest. But I've yeah, been doing mostly Windwalker homework at the moment, less so like Delves and M+ and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is what the gear's kind of looking like at the moment. Some things to point out. Trinkets, I think, is a good place to start, right? House of Cards. Looks like it's going to be used for both Shadowpan and for Conduit the Celestial. Now, Conduit the Celestial, it kind of made sense, right? 1 minute 30 trinket. Lines up perfectly with every Swan. Swan. I always get it wrong. Ugh. I get it. Yeah, so it lines up every 1 minute 30, basically. And, like, this is one that I was using on the PTR, and pretty much every other Windwalker was using on the PTR because it just made sense. However, Shadowpan also running House of Cards, which was interesting because in my mind I thought, okay, it's going to work like Treacherous Transmitter, right? You're going to hold it for your 2 minute cooldowns, kind of how I thought it was going to play out. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that Zwan's Bond was going to be so good for Shadowpan that you're actually going to want to take it. I never tried it for Shadowpan. In my mind, that just wasn't a thing. You know, I was in my mind, I was like, Treacherous Transmitter, it's going to work the exact same way. No, the buffs are so good, and they kind of complement each other so much, the two trinkets, because Mastery's, like, real decent for us now. Like, the talent and the trinket, they just complement each other so well that you now be taking this for Shadowpan in its current iteration, right? So this is like a must-take talent for both Shadowpan and Conduit the Celestials. So that's quite interesting. And that's what I was going to try out today on the PTR when it's up. I was going to focus a lot on Shadowpan today, and then Conduit on Saturday? Yeah, Saturday sounds right, and then Sunday's live. But we'll see what the PTR is doing when I've done my big old spiel. It will probably be Delves 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 first week, then open up further. Yeah, I imagine it'll be something like that. I mean, to be honest, I didn't spend much time in Delves. I think I spent the first actual week in Delves, and then suddenly all my gear had already surpassed Delve level. But I found a lot of players found that. Like, Delves felt like 1 week content, which kind of sucks, right? Because they implemented this entire cool system of these Delves that you go in with a small little group. You have death counters on them, like mini dungeons, kind of scenarios, and then you don't do them. Like, it's just kind of weird, right? You have this entire brand new content. It reminds me of Island Expeditions, right? Where you only did Island Expeditions for AP grinds, and outside of that, you just ignored them. I would like to see Delves get a bit more play, but then you have the issue of, well, players are just running Delves to get their best in slot gear. Why would they do raiding in M+? I don't know, it's hard to balance. Not my job, Blizzard's job. I'm glad it's not my job. But I would like to see Delves be a little bit more I don't know, see a little bit more play than 1 week. You know what I mean? And they've added a couple more delves. I have actually seen that. They've added 2 delves to the next season. So that'll be cool to try out. Are the one-handers with special effects from the new raid that bad? Thought we'd run those for Season 2. That's what I thought. Like, genuinely, all of the PTR testing I've been going through, I've been running those 2 one-handers. Because in my mind, and looking at damage meters and stuff, they contributed a lot. They seem decent. They work well with dual threat, which you might notice is not being run in any of these 2 talent pages. Got to understand, from my perspective, I'm not an APL person. Like, by APL, I mean Theorycraft, what we're looking at like it's on the screen, right? All I can like tell on this side of things is what people show me at the end of the day, or what I learn myself. So I never tested out 200 weapons, because in my mind, it didn't make sense if you had the best, like a really good single-handed weapon from the last boss, and from the second to last boss. It was like something like that, and these weapons had awesome effects on them, right? They did a good amount of damage in M+. However, we have actual computer simulations in front of us right now, and they're saying two-hander. Why two-hander? Basically, one-handers and two-handers scale differently from each other. I don't know, like, the intricate, like, amount of scaling that they differ from each other. However, because two-handers seem to be scaling at a better rate now, which tends to be the case. I don't know if you ever did, if many of you played Dragonflight Windwalker, but Season 1, it was 2 one-handers, right? Season 2, it was a two-hander. Season 3, it was a two-hander. So, like, two-handers do scale relatively better the further you get into an expansion. And now that they scale better, what I find interesting, though, is that this isn't the raid two-hander that the Sim's using. I'm not sure the reason for that. I don't know if it's just because the stats are that good, like Haste Mastery. I don't know if that's why. Like, I'm going to try to pick Kholer's brain, to be honest, when he has a moment, because there's a lot of things I don't understand why these are coming out on top. My main guess is stats, right? I have looked through this quite a bit, and if you look at, like, the generic stats on everything, Haste Mastery, crit haste, Haste Mastery, haste crit, but then you have Haste Mastery again. We have another Haste Mastery, Haste Mastery, Haste Mastery. You see what the theme kind of is here, and then the trinkets are both Mastery. So you can see how it's kind of funneling into a Haste Mastery sort of build. So my only, like, speculation on why this weapon over the raid weapon is maybe just because the raid weapon stats aren't that good. Not on the PTR right now, so I cannot check what those stats are. But yeah, that's just my food for thought on the two-hander. As well as that, because two-handers are scaling better and it looks like a two-hander tier, dual threat kind of has less value. In the sense that, although it is a 5% damage increase, right, you hit more when you have 2 one-hander weapons, right, and it's based off of auto-attack chance hits. So they kind of don't complement each other that well. So this means that for both the builds, it's looking like dual threats just being shafted, which in all my PTR testing, I never even like really considered to lose dual threat. Maybe at the start when I like when I was trying out some wacky builds, but yeah, I just think that's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting things here to go over. I've just been looking at it most of the day, to be honest. We aren't going to be running Emperors, are we, for CGL? We are going to be running Crackling Jade Lightning for Shadowpan. It's the best AoE Shadowpan build at the moment. So if you can... Basically, we're looking at the Windwalker sections of each of these. This is the Shadowpan on the left, the Conduit on the right. So Shadowpan is relatively similar to what I've been using on the PTR for all of my M+ dungeons. The only difference being that I would have run dual threat over Zwan's Bond. So when I was like updating this build, I was like, oh, I've pretty much been playing that, right? It works really well with Shadowpan. It kind of doesn't complement Conduit the Celestials, though. So this Conduit the Celestials build is... I don't know, it focuses more on Strike of the Windlord windows, right? Like, you can't lose Strike of the Windlord for Conduit the Celestials. That's the entire, like, backbone of the of the hero talent, right? Because of Heart of the Jade Serpent, because of the changes that they've made to it, where Strike of the Windlord every time now will give you that cooldown reduction window. You can't like really have the argument of we can't run Strike of the Windlord because every 30 seconds you're pressing this button, right? There's no like ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like a massive cooldown reduction window sort of thing. But on the offside of that, because you're getting so much cooldown reduction, we also are not running things like Zwan's Battle Gear for Conduit the Celestial in these PTR builds, which to me is crazy, right? I'd never even considered removing Zwan's Battle Gear. Predominantly because Rising Sun Kick's so good at reducing the cooldown of Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury is one of your main, biggest sources of damage in AoE, right? Like, this thing absolutely slaps. Having an extra cooldown on that seemed, like, fundamental to me. However, the Sims say no. The Sims say no. Which, yeah, I've been looking at this all day and trying to work out, like, justifications for it. I mean, the main one I can think is that because we're getting so many cooldown reduction windows, you're getting, like, cooldown reduction every 30 seconds, pretty much. The value of getting that extra 4 seconds on Fist of Fury every time you crit with Rising Sun Kick kind of goes down a bit. I'm not sure how accurate of an interpretation that is. But there's reasons for it. And then you put talents into other things. So you'd be running things like pretty much similar to, like, the Bok build that we were running in this current season, right? Where you run shadow boxing treads. You have Hardened Soul, so a lot of the damage is being put into Blackout Kick. Not like Blackout Kick's gonna, like, carry your build, but it's making it so that Blackout Kick isn't a useless button, which for a lot of the time it was a relatively useless button, like a filler. Where even in this current season, Blackout Kick's, like, being pushed up a bit more than a filler ability, right? Like, you can use it to manipulate chi, and it does damage as well, and then it cleaves. So, I mean, I think it's mostly figuring that Blackout Kick is a good ability in your downtime windows to be pressing, like your downtime of your massive cooldown reduction windows. And then Slicing Winds as well, because it just synchronizes so well in this tree, you're running it in Conduit the Celestial. I like Slicing Winds. At first I didn't. There's a lot of people that don't. There's some people that do. Some people find it iffy. Some people find it icky. Some people just don't like that you're moving yourself. It just gets used to. If you haven't tried it on the PTR and you've just watched gameplay of it, it's not as bad as it sounds. And the amount of damage it does is kind of, like, crazy. Like, it's on par with Crackling Jade Lightning. It does a, like, significant amount of your damage. You can get up to, like, almost 10%, 9% easily in a dungeon, if you're getting, like, perfect casts of it. It also synchronizes really well with Heart of the Jade Serpent. It's one of the abilities that has its cooldown reduced, you know? So you got these big cooldown reduction windows. Suddenly, Fist of Fury is on a super short cooldown. Slicing Winds, super short cooldown. Strike of the Windlord, the thing that activates this cooldown reduction, is on a shorter cooldown. So it kind of all, like, synergizes well together. But this build does vary a fair bit from what I was using on the PTR. Like, a couple of abilities here and there that I wasn't trying out. So it's interesting to see. As well as that, Ordered Elements is still seeing play. I know that there was some builds on live that wasn't running Ordered Elements, but they changed how Ordered Elements actually works for Season 2. So previously, Ordered Elements would activate when you cast Rising Sun Kick, right? So you'd cast Rising Sun Kick, and then your next chi abilities would be reduced by 1. So on, so on. Now, it's on activation of Storm, Earth, and Fire, which takes a lot of the responsibility away from Rising Sun Kick. So you can press Storm, Earth, and Fire in AoE. Instantly, you know, Fist of Fury is reduced in Chi cast, you know, Strike of the Windlord. All your Chi spenders are reduced. It means you're not going to have to, like, open with a Rising Sun Kick in AoE, which is kind of nice, or use one in your opener. You basically, from what I'm basically saying is Rising Sun Kick, I don't know where it's going to be in the priority of everything. Like, the only thing Rising Sun Kick seems to have going for it in AoE is Acclamation, where you gain, like, 3% increased damage for, like, overlapping instances of Rising Sun Kick. But other than that, I don't know where this ability fits in AoE. And that's what I want to test. It'd be nice if they opened up the PTR, but that's, like, one of the main things I kind of wanted to test today, was, like, where is Rising Sun Kick actually going in the scheme of things? If you're no longer having the talents that, like, operate really well with it, you're no longer really using it to reduce cooldown of Fist of Fury, is Blackout Kick becoming, like, more prominent of an ability than Rising Sun Kick? I don't know. The servers are still down. Grr. What else? I have this whole, like, I've been doing work today, guys. Actual work. I was in a meeting and I was just, like, writing down notes on all of these Windwalker things, because they're big. Like, the APL, like, raid bot beta builds and stuff like that, they're big, because these are, like, actual visual things you can see of what is our endgame gear. So I was like, it wasn't an important meeting, don't worry. Eye of Kazan was another trinket that I thought was quite interesting. I actually ran it a fair bit at the start of the PTR, but it's one of those trinkets where, just from playing it, it's really difficult to tell how much is this trinket contributing to my damage? You know, it's like any other like stat stick trinket. It's the same as like the reverb radio, which is what I ran for most of my PCR on the like latter half of it. It's difficult to tell because it gives you stat. It gives you primary stat, it gives you mastery, and then it does some damage like every so often, big like fire damage. But like it's hard to judge how much is a like stats actually giving me, you know? There's no like definitive, this is how much damage this put towards. It will just give you like uptime of the trinket. So I have Kazan, another one. Unfortunately, dropped by Chrome King Gallywix. Yay! Don't you love it when all our best in slots are looking like they're dropped from Gallywix? As well as that, the Jaster Diamond, which is a ring that I'm pretty sure every single player on the PCR has been running. It's really good. Where does it drop? Oh, Gallywix, of course. So it's one of those, isn't it, where we had Kaiveza this season gone, where all our good loot dropped from the one boss. Now it's gonna be even worse. It's gonna be Gallywix, where all our good loot drops. I don't know if these are classed as rare loot though. I'm pretty sure the Jaster Diamond is classified as super rare loot. I'm not sure about Ayakazan. I'd need to double check on that one. But I know for sure that the ring is. It's gonna be like the ring from Ansarek, where I don't know how many of you saw it. I saw it like once or twice, and it always went to the Demon Hunter. Do you have any idea why they recommend Leech on wrists? I think now in Season 1 it was avoidance. Off the top of my head, no. I think like something like that is kind of preference, right? Leech avoidance. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head why they've chosen Leech. We don't really have that many. I mean, we have a couple of interactions with like self-healing and stuff. Conduit the Celestial, you actually get a fair bit of healing by casting it, because it's shared with Mistweavers, right? So you actually heal teammates as well. But it does a lot of damage. I don't know. It might just be that they put Leech on it because any of those would have been about the same. But I don't think it's going to really contribute to damage. Yeah, no, honestly, no reason. No reason for why Leech. You'd have to ask Kholer, to be honest. I remember back in the day, Windwalker was squishy. How is its durability feeling nowadays? How are the defenses feeling? I think Windwalker is like pretty much the best class in terms of defensives. DPS spec anyway. I don't know. I've seen a few and I've heard what other classes have defensive wives, and I just think Windwalker has so many. My best example of this is like Kaiveza, right? I play a Demon Hunter and a Windwalker. On Kaiveza, I'm absolutely panicking on my Demon Hunter, right? They have, in total, like one big defensive, one AoE defensive, and they're both on a 3-minute and 5-minute cooldown, right? And then you have Blur, which is 1 minute. Constantly on Kaiveza, like, it's an absolute nightmare. I'm losing my mind. Like, if one defensive's down for one intermission, I won't level up for the next one. Windwalker, like, I have a defensive for every situation in Mythic Plus, constantly on rotation. Kaiveza's an absolute breeze for Windwalker. Because the thing is, we have Diffuse Magic, massive defensive for magic, right? 1 minute 30 cooldown. It also deflects certain things, so that's useful as well, but mostly talking about defensives. Fortifying Brew. When you take Expendious Fortification, it's suddenly a 1 minute 30 cooldown. This is like massive. It increases your health, it reduces all damage you take. Nice overall big defensive. 1 minute 30 cooldown. Touch of Karma. You know, reflects damage back to the target, acts as a big absorb shield sort of thing. 1 minute 30 cooldown. We've got all of these nice 1 minute 30 cooldowns that you can almost use like one after another. The best like Mythic Plus boss I can say it on is the Stonevole Edna, right? On Edna, I would use a defensive on each of the big wave damages he puts out. You know what I mean? Like whenever the explosions happen and they cast his ability, I'd cast one, cast the next one, cast the next one, and then the first one I cast would be back up again, and you put it on like a continuous cycle. But on top of that, we have Vivacious Vivification and for Shadowpan Protect and Serve. So like Vivify is almost a fourth defensive. Godsend on bosses like Kaiveza and stuff. Just the fact that you can self-heal on a Windwalker is amazing, right? A lot of classes cannot self-heal themselves. If you're ever in a spot of bother, you can basically proc an instant like heal on yourself. Sometimes it crits. I mean, I've had upwards of like 2.8 million healing just from one of these, and it's free. It just costs you 1 GCD. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think Windwalkers have crazy defensives, and anyone that says otherwise, I will I'll bonk with a stick and say no. Bad Windwalker. You've got so many defensives. Look at this hunter. What does he do? Press turtle. Then what? Then what do he do? Yeah, so I guess that answers that. Like, basically, yeah, I think we have loads of defensives, and then we've got loads of like subtle ones as well. You know, you have bounce back, which reduces all damage you take every 30 seconds, you know, on the next big hit. We have changes, so Dance of the Wind is pretty cool as well. This changed. It used to be dodge chance that it would ramp up. I don't remember the exact numbers, but they've changed it to basically reduce physical damage you take 10% by an additional 10% every 4 seconds until it stacks up to 100, I'm pretty sure. So basically, you'll stack this up. You'll have 100% physical damage taken reduced. You'll get hit by something, and then it, you know, starts stacking up again. But that's basically like a, you know, free damage tit. You can take physical damage, and just nullify it. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what other people's thoughts are on that, but I like this one. What else have we got? We've also got not so much for Conduit. But for Shadowpan, you've got things like Whirling Steel, you know, you gain parry, chance, and avoidance. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we've got a lot of defensives, a lot of inbuilt, like, protection, inbuilt healing. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, but I think Windwalkers have insane defensives. It's kind of hard to die on one, to be honest. Gallywix is a chump. Eamon, you're goddamn right. I haven't even seen the boss fight yet. I have no idea what's going on in that boss fight, but you're damn right, he's a chump. What does the chat text look like, by the way? I realized that I had, like, some really bold font on for my chat text, and I was, like, rewatching a stream, and I was like, can people even read what they've written? I can't see my stream text that well, like, it's quite small for me on my OBS. Let me know if the text font is better, if you can actually read what you're saying and stuff. Because I won't be able to see it until I actually rewatch the stream. I've been messing about a few things with OBS this week as well. You might notice I have a brand new little logo for Windwalker POV. The old one, I don't know, it was a little bit I don't know what the word for it is. Bad. You know, I'm expanding in graphics design. Yes, very much so. Yes, very nice, very nice. I have that ring on 5 out of 6 characters. The Ansarak ring. Oh? How do you manage to wrangle that one? Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm glad the text looks better. Honestly, it looks horrendous. I can't believe I had it like that for like a month. It was just so blocky, you couldn't read anything. I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, how is anybody reading this chat? I kind of don't mind having two-handers being meta. Don't have anyone to compete against weapon loot-wise in my raid. Yeah, I mean, that's always a good thing, isn't it? You're competing against, what, feral druids, and probably brewmaster monks, right? Like, at least you're not competing against rogues, demon hunters, all the usual suspects who use, like, Kavai's Warp Blade. Like, if that dropped, you'd be like, oh my god, they're not giving it to me. This rogue is gonna nab it. At least, yeah, how many ferals are running in your groups and stuff. That is a plus side for two-handers. I did enjoy that, like, in, oh, what's it called? In the last 2 tiers of Dragonflight, because it had the 2 good raid two-handers, right? You had one that dropped from, oh, the big boy who shot out the lava waves. Name Rashok? Rashok, yes, Rashok. No one else would roll for that ever, and you'd be like, sweet, best in slot secured. And then the final tier as well had the Fireack one, which was a bit harder to get, mind. But, well, again, who else is rolling on that? Like, so yeah, weapons might be easier to get, I suppose. That's always a plus. What else? Love Windwalker defensives using Touch of Karma on the Spider Boss, and Arakara is staying full health while everyone else is dropping is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love Windwalker defensives. The Fuse Magic's probably my favorite one. Not only does it deflect stuff, but when massive, like, magic damage comes out, you just press it and you watch your raid's health bars, and they're all, like, struggling for their lives, and you're just sat there, like, on full health, just laughing to yourself. Oh, it's probably one of my favorite defensive abilities. But yeah, Touch of Karma is a good one as well. But yeah, I just love Diffuse Magic. It has so many uses. Are stat weights the same for Season 2? No, it's looking like they're not the same for Season 2. So, in terms of stat weights, it's looking to be more of a haste mastery sort of tier. With crit and verse kind of like, don't put them on your gear, but, you know, like, hide them. Hide them behind, like, you shove them under the fridge, you know? When you drop something on the floor and you kick it under the fridge, that's where your crit and verse is going. Haste and Mastery is looking like it's going to be phenomenally better than those 2 stats. Just from this LPL alone, it's annoying because I have my PTR character set up with pretty much this gear, and I was going to be able to, like, show you my actual, like, a nice stat weight looking thing. I had it all planned out, guys. Like, it was going to look so good, and now I keep checking the PTR. I'm like, please, Blizzard. I had this all cool thing shown to show like stat weights, but yes, it's looking potentially that haste is going to be better than mastery for Shadowpan, and then mastery will be better for conduit than haste, but like they're both pretty like close to each other. Also, thank you very much for the $5. Oh my god, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Gargamech. Thank you very much. Just want to say your content's been really helpful for me re-rolling to Monk next season. Keep it up. I will, my dude. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm so awkward. But yes. Oh, no. You're amazing. Thank you. PTR, please. I pray. Oh, you can't do me like this. I pick my stream days so technically so I can get on the PTR, and they... Oh, Blizzard just slapped me in the face. What was I talking about? Haste Mastery. Haste Mastery, yes. So for a long time, like a lot of the thing, I like to put disclaimers and stuff. I like to keep on track with like Peak of Serenity and stuff like that, what they're feeling about things, because at the end of the day... Oh? Secret Chipmunk? What? What do you mean? No, you... Oh my god, thank you so much. No, you really shouldn't have. Thank you, though. Wow, oh my god. That's insane. Thank you. Oh my god. Like, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. Oh, you just make me lose my train of thought, all of you. I'm actually going red. I can just feel my cheeks just going hot. I'm so British. I don't do well accepting things, but thank you. That's actually amazing. Oh my god, I've got this massive grin on my face. What was I talking about? Haste Mastery. Oh no, yeah, Haste Mastery. Yeah, like Peak of Serenity is where I mean, like, let's be real, they're like the masters of the monk. Like I know a lot of things, and I get a lot of like information from PCR and testing and do my own things, but at the end of the day, like things like this, right? APL, theory crafting, stuff like that. I'm not even gonna pretend to know how to do this. Like, he posted these on Kholer posted these on Sunday, yeah? I tried to, like, do some internal testing myself, and it just kept going errors, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, this is going over my head. So a lot of information does come from Peak of Serenity, and it's just because Windwalker is such an amazing community. Like, a lot of good players that play Windwalker, and a lot of people that put in a lot of work. So I'll always try to shout them out, and I'll never deny that, like, I do get a lot of information from them, because it's where I learned to play Windwalker, like, to be honest. But yeah, so their thoughts, and like my thoughts as well, basically, just from like putting this gear on myself and looking at all the stats is, yeah, Haste Mastery. I mean, I was kind of like a little bit worried to even say Haste Mastery until I saw it in Peak of Serenity, and now they're finally saying it, because they're very don't say until like it's official sort of thing. So it's similar to me. I don't want to say like, guys, it's Haste Mastery 2 weeks ago, and then suddenly you've just watched that one video, you're going into Season 2 Haste Mastery, but then Blizzard changed it to Crit Verse. Don't ask how they've changed it to Crit Verse, and then you go in and then you're like, oh, I'm wearing the wrong gear for the, like, a good part of the season. Basically, I just don't want to misinform people, I think, is the TLDR. So I do try to be a little bit cautious with advising things. That's why I do put the big old disclaimers like, it's PTR, guys, be careful, don't take everything for value. And it's why the guide isn't going to come out till, like, pretty much the day of Season 2, if not the day before, because I know Blizzard. I know what they're like. They're cheeky buggers. And you know what they're going to do? I'm going to have this nice old video ready to go. I'm going to post it. And then they're going to be like, Windwalker nerfs. Or big Windwalker changes. And I'll be like, why, Blizzard? Why have you done... Like, I don't mind if they do it during the season, because I can retcon. But I just don't want to put anything out that's got, like, big, like, what words can I speak? Please. Misinformation, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, I'm still flustered. Thank you so much, Secret Chipmunk. That's amazing. One thing I'm finding strange is the lack of Strike of the Windlord moving out of Shadowpan builds. Basically, the TLDR of it is that Strike of the Windlord is low-key a bad ability. Like, it used to be really good, but its scaling is actually kind of bad. Like, if you ever, like, run Mythic Plus, right, and you looked at your damage breakdown, Strike of the Windlord and Thunderfist, they don't actually contribute that much. All the damage really comes from, like, Gale Force, and Gale Force is pretty much your other abilities doing all the work for Strike of the Windlord, right? It's not that great an ability anymore, which is a shame, because it, like, came in Legion, right? I remember playing Legion, getting Monk, getting this brand new ability that did, like, insane damage, and you were super hyped to get it, and it was awesome, and now it's just kind of a form of shadow of itself. It's why, like, with this Conduit Celestial build now, you can see that you're not even taking Thunder Fist. For AoE, right? Like, forget about Strike of the Windlord for a minute. Thunder Fist was, like, the AoE, like, side of Strike of the Windlord, really. Because you're getting, like, stacks up for targets hit and stuff like that, and you did nature damage. It's like, it's not even good enough. Take Rushing Jade Wind. So, that's the main reason. Like, I genuinely think if Strike of the Windlord, like, if Celestial Conduit didn't rotate around Strike of the Windlord, and Strike of the Windlord wasn't fundamental for its play, and you had Slicing Winds up somewhere else, you wouldn't take it here. I think just because it's so fundamental for Celestial Conduit that you have to take it. It's a glorified cooldown reduction. Plus Gale Force is really good. Like, and don't get it wrong, like, Gale Force does a lot of, like, damage. It's probably my favorite part of Strike of the Windlord, and it's why it works so well with Celestial Conduit, because you Strike of the Windlord, then you get Gale Force procced, and then you just go ham and blah da 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 da. Big burst damage, monk happy, dopamine and head. Thank you, Celestial Conduit. So I guess the TLDR is these are AoE builds, right? I don't have any proper single target builds. There was one thing that Kholer published, but I'm gonna hold off on it because it was more like proper full-on stats and stuff. And first, I need to get my head around it myself before I try to explain it. But I think the TLDR of it is that damage-wise, there's been a reason I've held off on showing the damage for these two profiles, right? I'll show them now. But I don't want you to go, oh my god, Shadowpan does more. I have to play Shadowpan. Shadowpan does 2.3 million more. Gotta, you know what I mean? Like, no, wait. But first off, there was like a disclaimer with these that basically it was like, although, you know, Shadowpan is simming a bit higher, firstly, monks are bugs on sims, so these numbers may not be accurate for starters, right? So don't compare this to your shaman that you play and suddenly you're like, Windwalker's doing 5 million DPS in AoE. My shaman doesn't even do that. No. First off, right, big disclaimer, there are some bugs with the sims, right? So damage isn't accurate. Like, talents and stuff, sure, they're pretty accurate, and gear's, you know, accurate as well. Damage numbers, that's why I hid them. But the point I'm trying to say here is that although there are, like, differences, what Kholer was saying was basically that Celestial Conduit, the sims aren't, like... A player playing Celestial Conduit at the current moment would be better than the simulation, what the simulation does. It doesn't quite play it how you should. So the idea is to basically go in open-mindedly at the start of the season, test out both of these builds, right? Like, for starters, just do it anyway because, you know, there's no raid out, there's no M+ out. See what you enjoy. They're basically both going to be super competitive in Mythic Plus, right? They're both going to have advantages and disadvantages. But, like, obviously one's always going to come out on top, right? That's just how the game works. We're gremlin min-maxers now, aren't we? Like, oh my god, I need this specific gem because this gem does 0.001% more damage. I have to have it. Min-max freaks. That's what we are when we play this game nowadays. But, like, genuinely, both these builds will see viability. And I'm one of them. I'm a massive gremlin, guys. I'm a DPS fiend. I will buy that gem for like 10k just to get that 0.1% damage increase. But you know what I mean, like, both of these builds are going to be viable. In terms of raid, though, it is looking like Conduit the Celestial is going to pull ahead. I don't know if it's going to be for every boss, but just from, like, just testing myself, to be honest, I did all the testing on the PCR, right, for all the bosses. I always found that Conduit felt nicer, better to play, and did more damage. And then it's, like, confirmed as well, like, through APLs and stuff, that it's looking that way. It's looking like Conduit single target probably is going to be better. So what's my suggestion? Start practicing Conduit. It's a little bit different than it is on live, but the same principles still pretty much apply. Is this Dungeon Slice or Patchwork 5 bosses? This is Dungeon Slice and Dungeon Route, I think. I'm not sure which one it is exactly. There is a slight difference. In terms of simming, never sim 5 bosses. It's not accurate. Maybe for other specs, but for Windwalker, the advice is always to sim. Dungeon Route is ideal for AoE. Dungeon Slice is second best, I think, for AoE. And then for single target, it's always Patchwork 5 minutes as the usual to go off of. But when you start, like, adding extra Patchwork bosses and stuff, the sims, you're not going to do that damage in, like, a Mythic Plus, right? Because you're not always hitting 5 Patchwork bosses for the entire time, are you? And there's very rarely any bosses in Raid that has, like, you know, big amount of targets that are always up. I mean, what was it last tier? Silken Court had 2 bosses at all times, but half the time you were only hitting 1. You know what I mean? So the advice is always dungeon route for AoE, but dungeon slice if you're trying to be faster, I think. You really want to play Conduit for slicing winds because I have the brain of a monkey. Oh man, I've got the brain of a monkey as well. I like slicing winds. And you get to press it a lot. Like these abilities are 30-second cooldown, right? For Strike of the 40 seconds for 30 seconds. You're in communion with the wind, right? So Strike of the Wind was 30 seconds. Slicing Winds is 30 seconds. But actually, because of all these cooldown windows and whatnot, these turn out to be like almost 20-second cooldowns, maybe a little bit more. It depends like what burst window you're in. If you've got your actual Conduit burst window and stuff. So you're pressing these buttons tons. Like the APM of Conduit is a lot more than it is of Shadowpan. You'll be like spamming buttons a lot more. Shadowpan's going to be a bit slower paced. It's going to be a lot more familiar to what you know as well. Like Shadowpan's not changing crazy. Conduit, there are things that you are going to need to like be aware of. Like certain things have been changed with how this hero talent works. So it's not going to be like the same. Like there's different quality of life changes. The biggest one, Heart of the Jade Serpent, you need to get your head around how that actually works now, because the entire spec hero talent revolves around it. So they're a little more niches to Conduit the Celestial that actually have changes, whereas Shadowpan's relatively similar, except every so often you cast lightning bolts like Emperor Palpatine, and then you go zzz, you zap a little bit every now and then for big damage. Otherwise, relatively similar, I guess. I mean, I guess you lost Strike of the Windlord, right? But I think it's easier to lose an ability than gain one. You just basically replaced it with an extra lightning bolt you cast every minute or so. Do I know if PTR will be up today? It was up earlier, Jorgen. I really want it to be up because that's kind of the whole point of the stream. But it looks like Blizzard decided to take it down. I know it was having issues last night. I imagine it should be up today, right? There's no reason it shouldn't be up, but I think that they're potentially putting out their last like update to it. Because yesterday is usually when they should put these updates onto it. But they decided to save it for Wednesday, the moment I started streaming. So thank you, Blizzard. I appreciate your service. But I think that like pretty much covers more or less everything I wanted to talk about in the like APL build sort of thing. There was an update, blue post. Oh god, what does it say? What does the blue post say? Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Can we all see that? We'll go through it together, live on stream. Blue post analysis. Oh man, they say I don't make good content. Season 2 Mythic Plus tuning development notes for February. 10% global health nerf. Oh no. What does that mean? The health of all creatures have been reduced by 10% in Mythic and Mythic Keystone dungeons. What? That's huge. I don't think dungeons were that bad. There are a few like Priory I hated, right? I did a bit on PTR, and this one needed some fat nerfs, and so did Meadery over here. But 10% nerf to everything. I mean, honestly, it looks like we're going to be doing a lot higher keystones than we were last season. Like 12s are not going to be like the pinnacle at the start anymore. Like 12s are going to be a lot more ease of access. Which means for the most part, you're probably going to be running dungeons without affixes for a lot of Season 2. Which is okay, but then it brings the question of, what's the point, right? Like, affixes are cool. Some of them anyway. Not the orbs. The orbs that fly into the bosses, that sucked. Bin it. Nerfs to Priory, that's fine. This dungeon absolutely needed some nerfs. It's good that they posted a blue post. What does this say about the test period starts at 10... Oh, God, what's my time zone? What's 8 Central Eastern Time to UK? Where's GMT? Oh, my God. Any class tuning? I guess that's more important, right? No, it's all just dungeon stuff. And it's all nerfs, just from a quick glance. It's all, like, nerfs, right? I don't think Dark Flame Cleft was too bad from testing. The Motherlode was okay as well. There was, like, 1 or 2 issues here and there. I'm glad they are making changes, though, because this is the biggest issue you had with Season 1, right? I don't think there was a lot of testing of the dungeons, and then what happened is people went into it on live, and we all get one-shot by stupidly overtuned bosses like Necrotic Wake, right? And that's not fun. If you're on live, you want actual competitive dungeons that you don't get necrotic wake and you think, well, this key is rip. You know, so I'm glad there has been a lot of testing of these dungeons and things getting tuned, but some of these seem pretty big. 10% overall is crazy. Wow. 12s are probably like 9s, 10s in season 1. Yeah, I mean, honestly, they really are. Like, they're going to be massively nerfed. But yeah, it just brings back to the point of, well, what's the point of then the new affixes that are brought in if you're barely going to see them, right? Like, they stop at 11s. I don't know if that was changed for season 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if that's the case, you're going to see them in week 1, and then you're probably never going to see those affixes again. And some of them are kind of, like, they've added new ones, right? They've added, like, 2 new ones. Like, I'm not saying, like, people won't play those lower keystones, but I'm saying, like, it's easier. It'll be easier for players to get into the higher ones, because by default, the higher ones have become easier. They've also reduced the scaling, right? 12s were horrendously, like, scaled. Like, the jump from a 11 to a 12 was massive at the start of season 1. They removed that. The scaling doesn't, like, jump like that. So 11 should then go into a 12, and it should be, like, a percentage more harder. Like, not... What was it initially? It was, like, 20% harder or something in season 1 when they first brought out the dungeons. I'm pretty sure you did an 11, you jumped into a 12, and bosses had, like, 20% more health or something. It was, like, a massive increase. And so I'm glad the ease of access is going up, but I'm not too happy if that means that you're just not going to use the affixes that they've put into the game. Oh well. Oh well, Blizzard know best. 15 minutes. Ooh. Oh good. I might actually get to play some PTR today. Oh, how exciting. What was that? I was talking about something before someone mentioned Blue Post. I appreciate you bringing Blue Post up, though. So that is interesting. Where is... What am I looking for right now? What is this? Oh, yes. This is what I was gonna talk about crafted gear, because that's one thing that wasn't implemented in any of those APLs that I just went through. This isn't to say... Right, another big disclaimer. What's Windwalker POV like? Him and his disclaimers. The disclaimer is that this isn't me saying you have to craft this week 1. It is your best in slot craft. This is just what max eye level crafted gear, like in the OPL that Kholer made, this is what just came out on top. Please, do not craft gear and then say, but Windwalker POV told me during a PTR live stream. Please. Please. Don't do me like that. But it's different from season 1. It is looking like it's going to be the elemental gems, elemental focusing lenses. They seem to be what the crafted piece of gear looks like. Just from this initial, this one sim, right? This one sim that Kholer had up with some crafted gear in that I could find. He might have some other ones, but this is the only one I could actually find that had any reference to crafted gear. But like at max eye level, this seems to be what works best, and it's on the cloak, and it's on the wrist, and it basically just means like you do extra damage when you have gems or something. I don't know, I've never run it. I've never crafted it, that's for sure. I don't think anybody's ever crafted this. I don't know. Predominantly because I imagine you don't want to craft a two-handed polearm, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into the crafting bit. This was just kind of a side thing I was going to bring up just at the end of looking at all of these notes. And then I wanted to point out Cersei's circlet. It's in all of the builds, guys. Like, Cersei's circlet is still in all of these builds. So everything else is 6, 7, 8, right? Max eye level gear, yada, yada, yada. This ring still sims better than all the others. I don't know what that's about, and it makes me think that they're going to nerf it, right? I mean, Blizzard even said that they were making this ring at the 11.0.7. They were making this ring, they wanted us to use it into Season 2, but eventually they were going to tinker with it if it became, like, too good, I guess, for Season 2. They don't want using this the entire season, right? It doesn't make sense to have a ring that you get in the past tier to be best in slot until the end of the next tier. So in current iterations of APL and PCR, it seems to sim the best. I mean, it's a good ring, right? Everybody uses it in every single piece of content. You were probably using it all the way back at like 639, maybe not 6. Yeah, you know what I mean, though. Like once you had the right sockets, you probably were using it at 639. This ring's like phenomenal, and it will only get better. No, that's a lie. No, hold up, that's a lie. But it's just that good. So I'd be so surprised if they don't nerf this. But it also means that we have like a really good ring that we don't have to worry about for like a while, right? So that's kind of cool. Other than that, set pieces, I didn't really touch on them, but I kind of figured this one out myself. I know, right? I figure things out. Don't at me. I've got a brain. Legs. It looks like legs are not going to be the set piece that you take, and it's just because the stats on the set piece legs are awful. They're crit verse. Remember how we went through the what stats are you going to want for season 2, and I put crit and verse underneath the fridge. Yeah. So really high doubt that you're going to be running the legs. In max build anyway. Like if you get the legs and you're leveling up, don't din them, please. It's the same effect as the Elemental Lariat and Dragonflight, something borrowed power. I don't know if it works a little bit differently. From my understanding, I don't think it scales with how many gems you have. Because that's how the Lariat worked, right? The Lariat worked with the more gems you have, the more damage it does. I could be wrong. I've never run this thing, just from reading what the equip does. And I had a little bit of a look at like the actual damage each one did. I don't know if the more gems you have mean it does more damage, or if the more gems you have, it just means it does different spell type damage, right? Because that's what it says. It says, your damaging spells and abilities have a chance to deal damage to your target. The magic school chosen is based upon your selection of socketed gems. So I'm just off the top of my head, maybe if people have played this in Season 1, you might know, but I don't know if it scales with how many gems you have. If it does, then it makes sense that it's going to be better maybe at the end of the tier. If not, you could probably run this with a single gem, but I don't know the intricacies of this talent. Crafted gear. Hi there, have a great stream. Oh, thank you. I'm having a good one. We're hopefully going to get into PTR content in a couple of minutes. The servers have been down. I've been informed that it's 8 minutes till they're live again, and it's for... I keep opening tabs up that don't do anything. It's because that they brought in the last, like, final set of dungeon changes. Because they finally released all the dungeons at once. Wow, variety. I love variety. Oh, well, I've just yapped for an hour straight. But I'm just excited. I think, because we haven't had many changes, right? Like, we had a lot of changes initially on the PTR, and they were all really exciting. And then for, like, 2 weeks, there was kind of, like, nothing, you know? It's all speculation. How are we going to do? What's going on with Windwalker? We weren't nerfed, but we weren't buffed. Nothing was happening. So I guess to get, like, some actual beta builds out is pretty exciting. So you can kind of, like, now visualize what you might be aiming for next season. Like, obviously... things can change. They didn't change quite like predicted with the PTR patch just now. But it's cool. I like that we've got different talent builds. I'm happy about that. I didn't want to play Shadowpan in this exact same iteration for another season, and I'd be surprised if any of you did. You know what I mean? Like, Shadowpan's alright, and I'm happy that we're still getting to play it. Like, I didn't want Shadowpan to go in the bin. Because then we'd end up in the situation where you're like, oh, I've played Conduit the Celestial for the entire season. I'm tired of Conduit the Celestial. When's Shadowpan coming back? You know, like, it's just how we are as people. Like, you play it too much, and then you'd be like, I want some variety. So, it's just kind of nice that we're going to get a little bit of a mix and match. Like, sometimes you can play Conduit, sometimes you can play Shadowpan. It's not all just going to be, like, straight. Like, there are going to be choices you actually get to make, which is kind of nice, right? I like choices. I like decisions. Other than that, yeah, Dance of the Chi-Ji is in every build. I mean, I've gone over Dance of the Chi-Ji quite a bit, but if you've never tuned into a stream where I go over any of the changes, they've basically made spinning crane kick really strong. I do have patch notes somewhere, but getting them up would be a nightmare. But they basically made Dance of the Chi-Ji, not Dance of the Chi-Ji, they made spinning crane kick no longer have stacks, so anyone that doesn't like Mark of the Crane or having to stack up your spinning crane kick, no longer a thing in Season 2. In 2 weeks, never again. You don't have to worry about that. It's over. You can rest now. So your spinning crane kick's always going to do a fixed amount of damage, and they buffed it by 80%. So what the Mark of the Crane did was each stack gave it a percentage amount. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. I should know this. I'm a Windwalker. But it capped out higher than 80 when you're at 5, right? So at 5 targets, old spinning crane kick was technically stronger. However, now new spinning crane kick is stronger at lower targets, right? Suddenly your spinning crane kick does 80% more damage than it did before on a single target boss. So what are the repercussions of this? Well, it means that you're going to be taking Dance of the Chi-Ji for pretty much everything single target, because spinning crane kick does an insane amount of damage when it's got Chi-Ji proc on it in single target. I mean, I've spoke about it a fair bit. I don't know if it's an oversight on Blizzard for this, because this is our AoE ability, right? This is our quintessential AoE ability, and suddenly it's now, like, really strong in single target. Does that sound quite right to you? Like, do you feel like does it feel natural to spinning crane kick and single target? Not really. Like, you don't go on Silken, you go on Sikrin and Kaiveza and then start proccing Dance of the Chi-Ji and going mad, right? But now you will. Unless they make any changes, that's exactly how it's going to be. There is at least 2 pretty single target bosses in the raid, right? There's one like 100%, and there's another, well, there's a few of them that are like more or less basically single target fights, like pinnacle of it, but let's say Lock and Stock, for instance. Lock and Stock is the penultimate single target boss in the raid. Like, he's the only boss that has no ads at all. You'll run Dance of the Chi-Ji, because spinning crane kick is just that strong. It's why, as well, you'll also run Revolving Whirl for pretty much all of your single target builds as well. There'll be no more stacking Touch of the... there'll be no more stacking Monastery up to 8 stacks anymore, because getting a proc of Chi-Ji is stronger. It just is. Same applies for AoE, right? That doesn't change. Like, you take this in AoE anyway, but in single target, that's the way it's looking. Oh god, it's like Butchery for Survival all over again. What, Survival Hunter? I've never played it, but I know that Survival Hunter's always been like a... Survival Hunters are like meme. Sorry if anyone here's a Survival Hunter, but they're like meme specs, aren't they? Like, they're good in Mythic Plus, right? Aren't they? But like, you'd never take one to raid. Am I wrong? Am I being classist? I'm being a little bit classist, aren't I? But I don't really know the fundamentals or the intricacies of Survival Hunter changes. But yes, if it's similar to that, where they made their AoE really strong in single target, then yeah, it is literally that. It's very strange. But you get used to it. Basically, my spinning crane kick glows, I press it, it doesn't glow, I never touch it, is basically the TLDR of it. I mean, there's a little bit more than that, but that's how it works in AoE anyway, right? In AoE, you don't really spinning crane kick unless it's glowing. And if you do bad, Monk, stop that. It's not good. Unless you have absolutely no abilities up, really you only press spinning crane kick when it glows right now, even. So, yeah, it's just gonna... Our AoE is our single target, and our single target is our AoE. It reminds me very much of Season 2 of Dragonflight. Finally holding two-hander? Yeah, Etsu. It's looking like that case. It just looks like the scaling of two-handers just seem to be better. I mean, at probably 639 going into the season, from what, like, my understanding of it is that two-handers are still going to be, like, better initially. Like, you're not going to find your first... one-handers are going to be better initially when you like get into the next season. You're not just going to find your first polearm and chuck the one-handers in the bin, right? But as you get a bit more eye level, two-handers will just outweigh scaling. I think the only two-hander at 639 which is better than the 2 one-handers you currently have is the one from Arakara City of Echoes, if I'm not incorrect. The one from the last boss that gives you like a poison debuff. I don't even know if you can get that from Mythic Zeros at 639. I don't know what the level scaling is for that, but from what I've read, that's like the only situation where a 639 two-hander weapon is going to be better than the one-handers that you have at 639. But that just shows you that if that's better because of the thing, then, you know, a couple 10 item levels more and suddenly two-handers are just going to be your go-to. But yeah, I don't know enough about the reasoning for not taking the raid one. It might be a question I'll ask Kholer, to be honest, because I think it's due to stats. But it's always strange to not take a unique, right? Maybe the unique's just that bad. But I have read it, and it doesn't seem too bad. Butchery was exclusively used for AoE, then they giga buffed it in the anniversary patch, so it became one of the strongest abilities in single target. Ah, I see. Butchery is what the ability's called, and it's not the butchery of the survival spec. Okay, I get you now. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, pretty much then. Yeah, pretty much the exact same concept. Spinning crane kick, really good in AoE, awful in single target. Now it's really good in both. I'm sad that we're not using the gilded fist weapon. Yeah, me too, Pandormu. I mean, I was using it the whole of PTR, wasn't I? I was happy with it. I like the damage of it, but I'm not gonna say I know better than a computer, because I don't. I'm not gonna sit here and say I know better than a computer, because that's just a damn right lie. Alright, let's see if I can load up the PTR again. I don't think it's done the update, but it is. Someone told me that it's open now. I trust in you guys. You guys know time better than me. I'm disappointed. My day is ruined, and my disappointment is immeasurable. Maybe if I close BNet, see what happens then. Webcam when? I don't know, Ash. Maybe someday. Face reveal when? You just get my beautiful voice for now. Let's let's go with that, shall we? I don't know. Some number of subscribers. I don't know what the streamers usually say. Whatever streamers usually say. Face reveal at, I don't know, something K. You're not here for my face. You're here for my Windwalker. Don't lie to me. Don't. Let's not get it twisted, guys. Yeah, no update right now. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on Battle.net. Oh, something in my throat. I mean, I can go on live and have a little mess around there. And if anyone gets notified of, what do we call it? Anyone gets notified of the PTR getting the update, let me know. What were those times again? So now I'm... Alright. 8 CST. Don't judge me, guys. I don't know what the conversion rate is of times in UK. What? That was an hour ago. What? What? Am I crazy? They say that the PTR should have been up an hour ago. Isn't that when it went down? Oh, Blizzard, I don't even try to work out what you're doing. Don't look at my demon hunter, he's disgusting. Don't look at him. Stop. Yes, I've also added a chat to my gaming thing. I'm not sure if that's going to get a little bit annoying. I tried to pick a nice place for it. It's just something I'm trialing out because I wanted to see maybe, I don't know, there's chat on the screen so you can see what people have asked whilst I'm actually in gaming mode. I keep calling it gaming. It's literally because that's the scene. That's what my scene is called, right? It's called gaming. So whenever I refer to gaming, it's because it's just what I'll call the scene. I put it over there. I don't know if that is an awkward place. I couldn't think of anywhere else to put it. I don't know if it needs a little filter on the back to read. I don't know. It's all trial at the moment. I was just testing a few things out. But it's really hard to test out chat features offline because YouTube doesn't let you see your chat when you're in offline mode. So thank you, YouTube, for that. I appreciate you. Like, the stream just... Like, your OBS just doesn't connect to it. It won't have it. You plan on releasing an M+ guide at the start of next season? For whatever reason, I tend to struggle with AoE on Windwalker. I plan on releasing an entire Season 2 guide at the start of Season 2 Gargamel. So the idea is that, kind of similar to my Season 1 guide, right? Where the Season 1 guide, I kind of go through, like, the basics of Windwalker Monk and, like, some of the general concepts of understanding it. And then I kind of shift into Season 1, talents, builds, all that sort of thing. I'm probably going to leave out, like, the basics of Windwalker, right? Because we covered that in one of the videos. The idea will be to basically predominantly look at the main changes of Windwalker Monk. Like, what's different coming into Season 2? What do you need to know? Fundamentals, talent, stuff like that. And then, like, proper deep diving into Celestial Conduit, single target AoE, and Shadowpan single target AoE. But maybe, like, missing out, like... Because last time I went into, like, how do you play Shadowpan and stuff like that, right? But... I've already covered that. I don't want to like farm time on a video on stuff that I've already covered, if that makes sense. Like if I've already gone over it, it seems like more worthwhile to go through how it's changed. But I think the idea would be that I'd link to certain things in the other video. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Honestly, I haven't started the video. I mean, I have ideas of what I'm gonna do, and it will be out on time, I promise. Fingers crossed. Don't quote me on that. Delete that clip, actually. But yeah, that's the idea of it. I'm going to cover Mythic Plus, AoE, single target, everything. And then in terms of like Mythic Plus videos, I'm going to be live streaming a lot because I'll be raiding almost like most days, right, when the new season comes out. But as well as that, I'll be running a lot of Mythic Plus. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of streaming in Season 2. From that, I mean, I need to do like a proper Mythic Plus guide for a dungeon. I want to like have tested it quite a few times, understand it, because I don't want to just do it like a general, this is how you run this dungeon. I want to know, like, what can I diffuse magic? You know, when should you be using your defensives? When should you be thinking about using your cooldowns at specific times? Otherwise, you're just watching me generically play a Mythic Plus dungeon, which is what I used to do, right? It's what my initial YouTube videos were. It was just me playing Mythic Plus dungeons with some bopping tunes on in the background, and anyone that said they weren't bopping in the comments, you're all wrong. You don't know music. Anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, I want the commentary to actually be useful, so I don't know, like, specifically for M+, at the start of the season. I don't know, I'm flying into this crevice. Mythic Plus at the start of the season, probably not too many, like, proper, like, M+ guides, but as I, like, get more practice on the M+ and understand the intricacies of how to play it on them, then yes. And the main reason for that is, like, I'm doing them on PCR, so I've got a head start, but as you can see, they make a lot of changes. So what I think is going to be like a good build for a certain dungeon, maybe not so much now that they reduce the health by 10%. Suddenly, maybe Conduit's not as good because you're bursting things down too quickly, and Shadowpan's better at a lower key level. So I guess the TLDR is, yes, there will be a big guide for Windwalker for Season 2. Not as big as the Season 1 one, not an hour and a half. Let's call it an hour. Let's bookmark that. A nice hour-long video on how to play for Season 2. Could be shorter, could be longer. I don't know yet. And then Mythic Plus content. There'll be live streams all the time. Basically, I'll be sat behind my computer for my entire life. Season 2. Yay! But that's really fun. Yeah, and like actual trying to push high rankings in Raid as well will be really exciting. Basically, I'm putting a lot of time into WoW. So kind of a good time to start a YouTube channel, right? Kind of all synced up pretty well. ST is wrong. Well, how do you even say that? Central Eastern Time? Central Eastern Standard Time? I don't know. It's American, isn't it? It should be CET, Central European Summertime. There's Central Europe. Oh, right, you even wrote it for me. Thank you. We'll be back in 15. No worries. My Demon Hunter is also using Purple Murloc outfit. Like, all my alt characters just wear, like, my old, I changed what my monk was wearing, but he now wears, like, my, you know, generic monk mog, but he was wearing, like, something really wacky as well. It's just, I don't know. If I don't have to have them on the camera, he can wear whatever he wants, but usually, I'm awful with mogs, right? If it's not in my set list, I ain't putting it on. I'm not creating my own mog. Get out of here. Everyone remember to subscribe and like the stream. It helps our favorite WoW YouTuber. Thank you, Ash. Thank you. I didn't say that. He said it in the comments. It wasn't me. I'm not plugging myself. But, I mean, if he said it, I mean, come on. He's probably right. Ooh. What have we got? He'll turn his webcam on and reveal he's actually Swan. No. Oh, no. What? Oh, no. What am I trying to think of right now? I'll reveal that I'm actually, the Ox. Oh, what's his name? Nijao or Niju? I butcher these names. Not Yulon, but I'll be Nijao. Yeah, let's go Nijao. Let's just say, please don't correct me. That's it. It's Nijao. I'll be him. At 10 more billion, 10 Morbiuses. Any other POVs in the future? Hunter POV? We've got Demon Hunter POV that I play when I have to because I use it for splits. I mean, I talked about it a bit. There will be Demon Hunter content going into Season 2. Don't worry, I've been practicing. It won't be as bad as whatever you saw the other night. I've been putting a little bit of time into it. But then once splits are over, you're probably never seeing it again unless there's some boss that Demon Hunter absolutely excels on, and I need to play it because I'm the best Demon Hunter in the guild, which I'm not. And we need it for that boss. That's the only other time you'd really see it on progression and stuff. Otherwise, put it in the bin. I don't mind Demon Hunter, and I'm getting more used to it, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it, low-key, a bit more than I was. But it's a Windwalker channel, so the idea is not to play too much Demon Hunter unless I have to. Just go kill Tyrion, easiest mods in your life, shirts and no pants. But what's the racial? Wait. Yes, what's the racial matters to me. Right? I love the Void Elf racial. I love getting like a massive buff every minute, like that increases your damage. Like I play my dwarf and I can feel the difference. Like they're practically the exact same eye level now, the exact same gear, but without that buff, I can feel it. Like I can genuinely feel it. It also helps with window management as well. However, Spatial Rift, I will not lie, I never use it. Any other Void Elves, you might use it if you play like a priest or any other, like, I imagine casters get a lot of value out of this. It makes no sense for me as a Windwalker monk to have this ability. I have like 3 rolls that are always stacking up. You have Flying Serpent Kick, you have Tiger's Lust, you have Lighter Than Air if you want it. It's completely pointless for me to have this, and I've gotten no value out of it the entire season. But I play it for the racial, and also the Mogs. I think that Void Elves kind of look good in their Mogs. Like, I look at my Dwarf and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm glad I didn't pick this character as my avatar. Oh, no. Oh, I was going to show you a new add-on that I had. Actually, I will show you the new add-on that I have. We've got time to kill. It's a cool add-on for anyone that likes mogging. Not mogging is... you know what I mean by mogging. Mogging. It was recommended to me by someone in the YouTube comments, actually. And it's really cool. I've started using it a bit on my thumbnails and stuff. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I suck at making thumbnails. Anyone that's looked at my thumbnails, you know, they're bad. So I've tried to try some new things over the past week. And this is a really cool plugin. Add-on plugin. It's also a really cool way to like get pictures of your character and stuff, right? It's called Narcissus. Narcissus? Yeah, whatever. It's really cool, and this is what I wanted to show off on the PTR, right? Because it shows you your cool like stat weights and stuff as well. So when we get on the PTR, I'll actually be able to like show off what our stats look like and why it's so haste mastery, and you'll be able to visualize it. It shows all your items, all your sockets. It's really cool. This is just one feature of this add-on. Really cool for showing stuff off like this. I don't know if anyone's used this before. Probably more of like a content creator thing, but you can make photos and stuff, you know, like I can get my character doing whatever. I can, if I want my character to blow bubblegum, I can do it. Yeah, look at this. I'm gonna blow bubblegum. But yeah, it's really cool. But predominantly I'm gonna be, yeah, trying to update some of my thumbnails because they are bad. I prefer mugging. What do you mean you prefer mugging? Oh, Haymaker Stun. It's the style points for having it in your 100 log. What does Haymaker Stun do? Is it like War Stomp, where you just... It sounds the exact same. I've been vibing with Mag'har Orcs, the 2 minute... Yeah, Mag'har is the second best race to go if you're really, really min-maxing on damage. The best race to go for pretty much every DPS class at the moment is Mechanome, but you will not catch me dead on a Mechanome, because I do care about min-maxing, but I refuse. I won't do it. I am not making a Mechanome just for some damage. Like, it's too far. Like, there are things that you do for damage, and there are things that you don't do for damage, and making a little gnome that's half robot and having to actually play it is just not... I refuse. I'm not doing it. An orc, I would potentially race change to if I'm feeling particularly greedy, but I like Void Elf. I'm happy with it, and it's alright in racials. And realistically, like, racials, they're not, like, massive disparity for Windwalkers. Like, some classes do have some huge disparities, and honestly, last expansion, like, Vulpera sucked. Like, genuinely horrendous. And I played one. They were so bad, like, in comparison. Yeah. It's kind of crazy how a racial can matter, but not matter at the same time. But I'm not going to ever say switch to another race because it's better, because it's real money. Unless you level it, in which case go for it, guys. But please don't race change because I've said that Mechanome's good. Please. Unless Tinkerers get added as a class, then maybe. Maybe then. But, like, even then, you can probably go... Like, at the rate Blizzard's going, you can probably, like, be a dragon Tinkerer, right? You can be a... like, you can be a dragon warrior now. Like, we've just... you can be anything now. I think we've gone too far. Like... It made sense for certain, like, races to be certain classes, and it made, like, sense at one point, and now you can just be whatever you want for anything, which is cool, but at the same time, like, why am I a Worgen monk? Where's the logic there? Oh. Oh, come on, PTR. Alright. Let's, I don't do M+. As you can see, my builds are raid builds, but I will dabble, just to play and talk. Set my brain off, play and talk, you know how it is. So I don't feel like you can't ask questions and stuff. I will be looking at chat more than I'm looking at this dungeon that I'm about to do. I'm also keeping an eye on PTR. I'm really sorry that it's down, guys. I didn't realize that they'd be doing these updates today. They don't do them on Wednesdays, but they did it to spite me. I know it. I want to be on the PTR right now. If the PTR doesn't come up in, like, I don't know, let's say if it doesn't come up in an hour, I'll probably call it, and then I will just stream tomorrow instead. Like, I'll just move the day, because I want to do PTR stream, but like, I'm just on retail right now, and we're not here for retail. We want to see the changes, goddammit. I didn't turn on YouTube to watch some monk do a plus 10, 12 on live that I could do myself. I turned it on to see the goddamn PTR changes. I feel the same, guys. I feel the same. It makes sense. So yeah, if it's not up, I will just end and just go again tomorrow. I'll just add an extra day because I want to play PTR. So that's cool. That's a good. I think that's a good way to look at it. Okay, I don't have any keys. Why don't I have any keys? Great question, because I don't play this game much anymore. No, I'm kidding. I do. But now we get to play the monk's favorite game. It's a game called Can I Get Into Any Dungeon Group? Now, many of you may be familiar with it, and many of you may hate this game. I do as well. It's why I always run my own keys. I don't have a key, because I don't do much Mythic Plus on my main right now, because I'm max eye level. So, yeah. We'll see. I'll see what I can get into. 11s are cool, right? Do we like 11s? We like 12s? Is 11's a bit low, isn't it, actually? We'll go for 12s. Let's not kid ourselves. I'll see if I can get in some 12s. We can see what we can do. I don't even know if I have a Mythic Plus. That's a lie. I have a Mythic Plus build. AoE M+. It sounds right, doesn't it? Does this build look right? No, not really. This build looks all over the place. Well, this is not AoE M+. I don't even know what this is. M+ real this time. I should start labeling these things with actual names. That would be very useful, wouldn't it? Hey bro, started Windwalker 2 weeks ago. Thanks to your vids. Thanks a lot. I'm having a blast. Oh, thanks, Halesy Chief. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I'm glad people are getting into Windwalker from my channel. Like I do try to, you know, put out good educational content for Windwalker and people learning, but like, just hearing people like join and start playing Windwalker that didn't before is like really cool to me because it's my favorite spec. I'm sure it's a lot of our favorite specs here. So just having new people play, especially as Windwalker's like probably the least played DPS spec in the game, maybe bar dragons, evokers, whatever. It's just cool. I love getting monks into the game, and then they play it and they're like, "Why didn't I start sooner? I'm a goddamn kung fu panda." It's well cool. I don't like this game. I haven't played it in a long time, and now I'm just not getting invited. Oh, bloody hell. Is this what you guys experience on a day-to-day basis? Oh, never mind. I got invited. Forget what I said, everybody. It's easy. All you got to do is select the correct key. It's that easy, guys. Just anybody that's ever complained to me about trying to queue up for a key, just do what I did. Just right there. It's that easy. Oh, no. I'm being an idiot. Decline roulette. Still not up here. No, Spooks. It's a little bit annoying, to be honest. I mean, if you didn't catch it, I said that if, like, the PTR's not up by the end of the hour, I'm just going to call it today and literally stream tomorrow. Like, I wasn't going to stream till Saturday, but I want to do PTR content. I'm sure a lot of people want to watch PTR content. You're not here to watch me do a plus 12 on retail. Like, that's fair enough. I'm not here to stream plus 12 in the retail. I want to try the new content and stuff. So I'll move the day and just cut the stream short, because knowing Blizzard, like, they'll say a time, but I've seen them say a time before and then they'll be down for like 3 hours on top, and it's just like, well, it's not, you know what I mean? I'm streaming to do the fun content, not the not stuff that we have all seen 100 times. So I hope you guys understand. But if the PTR comes up, good. We'll play it. We'll play it. What dungeon is this? This is what happens. I yap and then I don't know what I'm doing. Dawnbreaker. Okay. In terms of talents, does this look good? This looks like, I mean, this is the guy that makes monk guides. No, I'm kidding. It's good. It's good. I do want to change one talent though. I don't want Martial Mixture. I want Energy Burst. Energy Burst is pretty much a must-take instead of Martial Mixture now. Initially, like, when I started playing, when I played this a lot in M+, I used Martial Mixture. But you find a lot of the time you run into energy issues at the loss of inner peace. Energy Burst just makes the difference, right? Energy Burst gives you extra chi. You get the Blackout Kick buff, like, pretty much all the time, right? Like, constantly in ad packs and stuff. It just helps with energy. Helps make sure that you're not, like, spending all your energy. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this, kind of. I don't... am I? I don't know. We'll play it. 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 I want to do some keys and give you PI. Oh, no. Tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow, maybe. But if you can't make tomorrow, Spooks, Saturday for sure. Whenever, really. Well, I say whenever. He says whenever after he says the days. For anyone watching, this is this is not PCR. Stormbreaker is an old dungeon. Yeah, let's just get jiggy with it. Slicing Wind seems hella fun with a crackling channel. How's Pan vs Conduit so far? Realistically, they're on par with each other, Jackie. Like, they're both going to be nice competitive builds. At the moment, the LPL's... the Theorycraft builds are a little bit scuffed damage-wise. It's just how they are. One, because monks are a little bit bugged on Theorycrafting builds. But two, the Conduit one's technically not simming, like, as well as it should be. There is, like, intricacies that I don't understand. My brain's too small for that sort of thing. But overall, they're both looking good for M+. Like, they're both going to be viable. Who just knocked that?
Select or stand in circle.
Oh my god, he played Windwalker. Yeah, in Raid, though, it's looking like Conduit might pull ahead. But realistically, I think they're both going to be good. And I'd definitely try them both out. It's definitely looking like it's going to be Slicing Winds for Conduit, though, and Crackling Jade Lightning for the other one. Shadowpan. That's just how they sim better. But that's an AoE, right? Like, for instance, I looked at a build for single target for Conduit the Celestial, and it looks like there's a good chance... Ow. There's a good chance we'll be running the first talent node of Crackling Jade Lightning for single target, which in my mind I never even considered. But it's looking on paper like that's good enough. Like, you run single target and you'll have, like, the... You'll have this one. You'll have Last Empress Capacitor, basically, for single target Conduit the Celestial. Not that there's many situations for single target, but that's simming the best. So that's kind of cool. And you don't run Slicing Winds in the single target build, right? Obviously, because Slicing Winds is a more of an AoE ability. Alright, Speaks, no worries. A lot of channeling spells, looks like. Yeah, and that's why it's very important to have a macro for channeling spells. It's why I made the macro video, to be honest, just before the season dropped. Fist of Fury, you really never want to interrupt. And then Crackling Jade Lightning now, you never want to be interrupting, right? And then also that Spinning Crane Kick, you never want to interrupt. So having, like, a macro where you cannot, like, physically cannot interrupt those channels is really important. Like, Crackling Jade Lightning's a big one as well. Like, if you move slightly, you cancel the entire cast, you've lost tons of damage, right? That sucks. So just having, like, the extra macro ability to not cancel it is big as well, right? Uh-oh. I have angered the giant spider. Remembered playing Windwalker every day in Shadowlands, so much fun. Oh, it's a shame I missed Shadowlands Windwalker. It's like the one proper expansion I didn't play it in. And it sucks because from what I've heard, it was probably one of the best ones, right? It's when Windwalker was truly broken. But it is a shame. I really, I did miss out on that one. It's when Bone Dust Brew, wasn't it? When Bone Dust Brew was just absolutely, like, cheesed into oblivion. That was when you ignored Mastery, right? To an extent. Like, you would just spam Spinning Crane Kicks. Like, you just ignore Windwalker Mastery. Like, that's when you know something's wrong. When your entire Mastery is just straight up ignored. Oh, God. Outshining even Destro in survival. Yeah. Good times, good times. I liked Windwalker and Legion when they initially had the lightning build and stuff with the legendary weapons. Like, that's when I properly got into Windwalker, like, really properly.
Jump 3 times.
That was fun. And we were quite good in Antorus from what I recall. Like, I'm pretty sure we were, right? Maybe not me, but I think Windwalker as a spec was good. Still no news on the PCR. I'm like constantly side-eyeing the bottom of my second monitor because what I'm expecting to happen is my battle.net little icon should start to go yellow. And then I gasp because it means I can actually play some PCR. At least on the plus side, all the dungeons is out. We had the issue last week where I said, all the dungeons are out, everybody, get excited. And then I logged in and it was not all the dungeons. It was a little bit of a lie. This week, all the dungeons are out. All the fun's out. No class tuning, though, so far this week. Surprising. Which makes me think that they're going to leave it to the last minute for class tuning. So all of these guides for all these classes that have come out. Ooh, you're about to get overwritten instantly. I'm sure they don't care, though. Uh-oh. I've got to actually do boss mechanics. I haven't done this dungeon in actual ages. Not on Monk, anyway. Ow! Why'd that go on me? Was I genuinely the furthest person away there? Are we 3 melee? Is this... Oh, right, Paladin. Okay, I get it. It all starts to make sense. I have cooldowns, but I feel like it's a little bit bait to pop them now. It's almost on like half health, right? If I pop everything now, the moment I do, it's going to transition and it's just going to be a waste. So I'm going to take the loss of damage just for the full uptime of my cooldowns. Makes sense in my head. Obsidian Beam. Oh yeah. Cool thing about this boss, right? You can stand inside of this until it literally pops. Yeah. Like, I could be in that right now. The only time you take damage is when you're in, like, when it pops and you're inside of it. Otherwise, you can stand in it.
Jump 3 times.
Cool little fact. Please don't hit me. I'm a melee, for God's sake. Oh, that's tight. I'm gonna save Storm, Earth, and Fire as well here, just for the next ad set. There's no point me going all in on this single target, to be honest. I'm gonna get so much more value by holding these. And realistically, I'm probably not gonna double stack it. Ow! I don't think I've ever had these orbs spawn on me. Oh, I always get to experience something brand new whenever I do a Mythic Plus dungeon. What I've been struggling a lot with at the moment is, because I'm having to level my Demon Hunter, I'm having to do a lot of, ow! I'm having to do a lot of heroic raids at the moment. And anyone that's ever done a heroic pug knows that the pain and pinnacle of, oh god, this is actually quite bad, knows that, like, the worst bosses for a heroic pug to ever attempt are Ovanax and Queen Ansarak, right? Like, have you ever tried to do an Ovanax and a pug? It is... It blows my mind, like, how hard it is. Like, I pray that I get the mechanics, because I know that, like, obviously some people don't know the bosses, and that's fine, but, like, it's just, like, so frustrating when, like, you want to get these bosses down, and you see someone miss an egg, and you're like, well, it's over. It's actually over. Like, trying to pug Ovanax is, oh, it's so stressful. Silken Court, not so much, because you can personally take the responsibility yourself, right? Like, you only need 2 people for web, so you can do it yourself. Anteract is almost impossible. There's so much personal responsibility on that boss. Which kind of sucks. I don't know. I just didn't realize pugging was so hard because I haven't had to pug. I usually just do guild runs and get loot there. But my Demon Hunter's been a little bit... he's a little bit of a side project that needs some love. And he's not getting it. And then you finally kill the bosses, right? And someone rolls in 100 and you just stare like, why? Why did I even do this? Anyway, that's my pugging experience. What's your guys' pugging experience? We have fun pugging. Ow! Oh my god. And this is why we like diffuse magic, everybody. I was dead without that. I cast it a little late because I didn't realize the damage was going to be that nutty. But I was a goner without that. Is pressing set a second time not a thing now? What do you mean by SET? Storm, Earth, and... Is that meant to be Storm, Earth, and Fire? What's the acronym? I'm going blank. That's a tormenting beam. I probably should interrupt that. He's not moving, so I guess we're moving. Okay, sure. Fair enough. I can't believe the tank didn't move there. That was just a straight screw you. Oh. Oh! Oh, Storm, Earth, and Fire. Why don't I press it again there? On the boss, I imagine if it's on the boss, why didn't press it another time there? It's because I feel like I get more value out of it by saving the charge up for the ad packs rather than having one less charge on an ad pack coming up. Is the tank dead? Why have I got aggro? Why did I get... What? Did he bop himself? The only way I get aggro there is if he bops himself, right? Because that removes aggro, right? Am I crazy? Is that still a thing? Either way, I got aggro there, and he wasn't dead. So he did something to kill me. Thank you, my tank. My liege. I appreciate your service. How are we doing, guys? Oh, not great. Wait, is this the boss? Why is it still full health? What?
Collect or stand in circle.
Why? Why is it still full health? Oh, I'm gonna lose my mind. What is this? Did it regain health? We didn't wipe, though. It glitched into the wall. Amazing. Thank you, Blizzard. You have done it again. Your genius knows no bounds. But also, that's bad positioning, I guess. Get away from the wall! Stop, please! Oh, no. I'm so glad Mark of the Crane is going away next patch. Yeah, I mean, at first I wasn't a massive fan of it, because I kind of, like, enjoyed the skill expression of it a lot. But then I, like, kind of thought about it a bit, and then I, like, when you think about it, you actually kind of always have 5 Mark of the Crane stacks, right? Like, it's so easy to get them. There is actually very limited skill expression in the ability, so, like, it's actually not that bad. And then playing it without Mark of the Crane as well just feels nicer. It also means the ease of access to Windwalker is a bit easier as well. Like, 'cause there is some skill expression you can have to it, right? Like, you can min-max Mark of the Crane stacks outside of Storm, Earth, and Fire windows, for instance, or Strike of the Windlord windows. Like, there is moments where you can, like, properly min-max it. Why are we pulling this over here, by the way? Alright. Is that on me? That is on me. I'm a good monk. I'm a good monk. I do mechanics. Wow, he's such a good monk. My healer's dead. Rip bozo. Looks at defensives and panic. If my healer's dead, what do I have up? What was I talking about? Mark of the Crane. Yeah, I'm not... Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not bothered by it. Like, at the end of the day, I think it's good. I think it's fine. It also makes it better in single target and stuff. So we're going to wipe on this as well, aren't we? Yep. Can we kill this mini-boss first? Probably not, right? That is a bad orb. And I got the nasty dot on me. But my tank died anyway, so it was over. Oh my god! This key is going awfully. DK damage isn't great. I guess I'm still stuck at the SL playstyle. Shadowlands playstyle, we're pressing it again during Storm, Earth, and Fire window makes you do more damage, just wondering. Pressing what again? What, Storm, Earth, and Fire? Oh, fixating, is that what you're talking about? If you're talking about fixating, I rarely fixate ever. Predominantly, right, because you want to be getting lots of targets with your Mark of the Crane anyway. But other than that, with fixating, there's like potential bugs of it, right? If you fixate on a target and the target dies, sometimes your clones just bug out, right? Like there is just instances where the clones just... I am going to pop everything for this, actually. Like there are instances where the bugs just clone out and like will not do what they're meant to do on other targets, and I'm just not dealing with that. I messed that up. I'm so bad. Everybody pop a defensive. Wait, we're okay. I'm never mind. I'm good at this game. Yeah, I didn't play Shadowlands, so I'm not like Windwalker anyway. We pulled these again, by the way. We're so this is so cooked. We should kill it though, because I've got defensives. Oh yeah. If that was a thing in Shadowlands, it's not a thing now. You won't do more damage if you fixate on a target, unless there's a bug that does that. Not that I'm aware of. The only time I ever really fixate this entire season is if you're really looking to do like funnel damage to a target, and specifically the main, like the easiest, I guess, example of this is Silken Court. On Silken Court, the bosses get like big debuffs on themselves where they take increased damage whenever they do their big like charge mechanic or the dispel mechanic. They get buffed, they take more damage, and that's like really when I fixate. Other bosses though, I just don't really fixate. There's no real need for it a lot of the time, unless you really are doing funnel damage. Yeah. Maybe it won't be such an issue like with Mark of the Crane, because it's also a really good way to get Mark of the Crane, right, to not fixate on targets, so then you hit more and you get the stacks. Maybe it would be more value to actually fixate on things now. But maybe not, right, because Conduit the Celestials ramps damage, so like if you hit 5 targets you do more damage than if you hit 1 target, so maybe having your clones spread out a little bit actually has more value to it. I don't know. I'm not a real fixate player unless you have to. Usually for the reasons that I just listed, right? Anything that has a buggy interaction, I try to avoid. Unless it is an absolute troll too. But yeah, there's no like buff or anything. That might have just been Shadowlands and a tier set or something. I don't know. I don't know though. I didn't play Shadowlands. Why are they crackling lightning the webbed victims? What is this Mistweaver padding? Oh my god. Why is this golem attacking the everybody's attacking these web victims. Stop the pad. We are actually we're just downing the web victims. I didn't realize we were doing this route. This is not the usual route for this dungeon, so I'm probably going to overstack Storm, Earth, and Fire here. But I did not think it was worth popping on 3 ads and 2 web victims. There's just no value. Sure, some overall damage, but like actual targets that I need to down are pointless. It's not always about damage overall. Sometimes it's about actually completing the content. Ew, I know, right? Alright, where to, Chief? Where are you taking me on this wacky dungeon route? You also might notice that I'm flying in non-dragonflight flying. Just for this dungeon, actually, because it's really good for this dungeon. Pretty late to explain that fact, because the dungeon's pretty much over with, but yeah. It means that flying between the boats is actually a lot, like, easier, I guess. That the, like, because a lot of the time, like at the start anyway, at the start of the expansion, this dungeon was so bugged, you used to flip through the boats. So just the... You're not moving! This guy is an animal. Ain't no way. Okay, I guess we move. Okay. Usually, like, the tank runs off a little bit, right? Is that not normal? Is that not etiquette? I'm pretty sure that's etiquette. Oh, Lord. The orb, she's coming. Okay. He no move. I move. I will trust in the AMZ. I trusted in that MZ. I didn't want to pop Diffuse Magic there because I want it for the next one. So I genuinely just put all my faith into that. And it paid off. Sometimes it does. Otherwise, I mean, I would have had Karma for the next one, but Diffuse Magic's a lot better. And Karma I can use for that ads or something when I pull aggro. We're going to take some horrendous damage here. But, like, you can see, like, if you keep track of my Mark of the Crane... Hold on. Oh, stop casting! Oh my god, it's why you don't put the Channel Council macros on your defensives. Oh my god. Honestly, I shouldn't have cast Viscous Fury there. I was yapping and I didn't realize that AoE was coming in. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Mark of the Crane stack. So you can see, like, as long as you, like, have a... Like, you see it's not worth here. So in this instance, I would have tab targeted, like I am now. But then the moment I finish doing that, I've got Strike of the Windlord up anyway, which would put me to max stacks. Like, I don't know, it's just like... It's not a bad thing that it's going. I don't think too many people will be disappointed with it gone. Maybe, like, initially, they'll be like, yeah, a little bit of Monk skill expression gone. But once you play without it, like, you don't even remember that you had it. I promise you don't even remember you had it. Thanks for subscribing, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Jonathan Herrera Ramirez. I didn't want to butcher the name, but I don't think I did. I think I did it justice there. I'm really good at butchering my my viewers' names. You'd think I'm doing it on purpose, honest to God. Me trying to read a name. No.
Jump 3 times.
Jump 3 times. Oh god, this is gonna hurt. No defensive, it's fine. I trust in my healer. Honestly, this is probably gonna be a pretty low damage dungeon, right? Like 1.8, not great, and it's only gonna drop significantly more on the boss. So realistically, this is not this is not a good run. I'm not happy with it. Where do we go wrong? Great question. I think we went wrong on the second mini-boss. I think we lost a ton of time there, especially when it reset and I died. We are getting overrun here, actually. I will pop Storm Earth and Fire. This is getting a little bit sketchy. Ow! I think dungeon damage can be, like, dungeon damage can vary so much as well, though, right? Like, it's a really hard representative of how, like, how well you have done the dungeon, right? You could get lower damage, and your dungeon's actually more smooth. Like, I feel like, how do I explain it, right? Like, it's so reliant on every single player in the group to get, like, a, like, really good dungeon damage log, right? What do I mean by that? So, because the DK is doing so much less damage than everybody else, like, it just is. So, what's the issue with that, then? Well, you're killing ad sets slower, which means your damage naturally is going to fall off, because packs stay up longer. Like, sometimes having packs up longer is good. Eventually, it'll always fall off, right? You've only got so much burst damage. As well as that, class setups matter as well. Nothing. Nothing here is buffing me. Potentially, maybe the Paladin. What's the point I'm trying to make here? I think the point I'm trying to make here is that videos with damage numbers are a little bit cheese. And I'm aware of this. I make videos with damage numbers, right? They just are. You do have to manipulate them a little bit. Not that I do. None of my videos are manipulated. Wait, hold up. Wait, hold up. Not my videos, though. I don't manipulate my videos. And by manipulate, I don't mean like bad. I mean like just like making sure you have like certain classes that kind of work with you, right? You kind of want the perfect setup to do like optimal damage. If you're like posting a video of like my character did like this much million and it's like a crazy amount, it's usually because their group is so perfectly set up for that. Everybody's playing out of their goddamn mind. Your pack management is perfect for your specs particularly. Like there's a lot of factors for videos like this. I don't really know what the point I'm trying to make here is. I'm just kind of yapping. Okay. Not me though. All my videos are real, I promise. Anyway. Back to the boss. Do I track Shadow Pan? Oh, I have a mechanic on me. Hold on. Do I track Shadow Pan procs or let it rip naturally? It depends on the situation. I imagine you're talking about flurry strikes, right? That makes sense. In raids and stuff, and on particularly, like, I'll go back to Silken Court, right? Silken Court, I fully track my flurry strike usage to line up with, like, the bosses when they get their debuff windows, right? It makes sense in my head, like, once you min-max that boss enough to actually fully focus on your flurry strikes and making sure you get procs during that window, because it's the best way to play it. In M+, not so much I keep track of when my procs are going to go. I do keep an eye on Shadow. Like, I just got Shadow as I said it. Wow, chances on that. I dropped that awfully. I'm sorry, group. We can all blame the Ahmed Joy. We'll He distracted me. No, I think it's fine.
Collect or stand in.
But yeah, I don't know. In certain situations, I do. Like, realistically, yeah, you should track stuff all the time. But that's not always going to happen. You've got a lot to micromanage. In terms of, like, flurry strikes, the only main wisdom you have to track is Shadow. Like, all the others are massively passive, right? Shadow just means maybe put a bit more focus into your Tiger Palm because your flurry strikes actually do more damage. And then if you have flurry, then maybe, yes, you want to be tracking when your flurry strikes activate a bit more as well because you want to be getting more of them out. But yeah, not so much in dungeons, honestly. Like, truthfully told, I don't track my actual flurry strike procs as much. Am I going to die? Nah, I'll be fine. I don't track my procs as much, but in raid I do a lot more. I think it's just because raiding's like, not more scripted, right? But like, I feel like progressing a raid boss is something like you learn. It's hard to, like, doing a raid boss, right? It's the same thing every single time, right? More or less. You're just learning how to get better at it. With M+, I find, like, every M+ is different. You've got a completely different team comp. Your tank goes in a completely different route. You know, you kill bosses faster, kill bosses slower. Like, every dungeon is different. So you're not really, like, I don't think you're really, like, learning to master it. Whereas, like, I feel like you can progressively get better. You know, I'm an idiot. I stacked on that guy. Oh, no. I'm sure we'll time it. It's fine. Do you know what I'm trying to say, though? I think I know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say. Shadow Wisdom of the Wall, if, like, you're properly fully, like, looking at this at all times, Shadow of the Wisdom Wall you want to be focused on, and then Flurry Strike tracking more so when you're on that actual Shadow, but usually, like, you generate these, like, passively every 4 Tiger Palms. 4? It depends if you're in a piece or not, right? I think I answered that question. Great. I'm proud of myself. I'll give myself a pat on the back for that one. That was top 10 answered questions of all time. Hard to have high damage when your DPS has to run out on some ads and bosses when it doesn't have to go that way. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that impact how much damage you do in a dungeon. Like, genuinely, and a lot of the things are out of your control. If the Frost DK did, 40 more million, whatever, 0.40 million more damage, suddenly me and the Hunter's damage will actually increase. Just naturally, because we're not, our cooldowns aren't going off. Like, there's so many things that impact it. If you have someone PIing you, even if you have, like, a warrior tank, suddenly my damage goes, like, dungeon damage is super easy to manipulate, whereas raid, I think, is, like, the best way to look at how much damage you're actually doing. Because usually raid comps consist of all the same classes, like, usually have all the buffs. Bosses are literally scripted. I don't know. I'm a very much a raid player, can you tell? Not that Mythic Plus is bad or nothing. And I'm not talking about like pushing keys and stuff. Like pushing keys and stuff, like you have to be really good for that. Like high keys. Like no, completely different thing. I'm talking about damage. Like I did this much damage in a dungeon. So yada yada sort of thing. It is, and then you try replicate it, and it's like really hard because it's a completely different environment, right? To replicate, like you can replicate some things like rotation potentially, certain things like that, but like to replicate, like if you watch a dungeon video of mine, to replicate it, you'd have to have the exact same players in it. But I guess the best way to look at it is like what. Then you look at those videos more so not for like the damage and stuff, but I think more so for like how are they playing the dungeon. What did they personally do, I guess, like rotation, cooldown, stuff like that. I'm yapping rubbish right now, honest to God. Right, we are 10 minutes from the hour. I will check on the PCR again, but I haven't seen any updates, which is really annoying, because as you could tell from the first hour of my constant yapping, I really prepared a lot for the PTR today. Like honestly, I did. I like prepared for this video. Like I even wrote notes. I don't write notes for any of my videos, but I was like, oh my god, there's so much to talk to you guys about. I was really massively excited for the PTR and then to show off all the things that I've done on it. Like like this build, right? This, can you see that? What were we on? This build, right? I literally replicated this in the PCR. Like I went and got all the items that I could. I tried to match up stats and everything. I even got the bloody same gem socketed. I was like, I'm going to try replicate this perfect build to the T on the PTR. And they've just like, nah, no PTR for you today, which is really frustrating. And yeah, I don't know if they'll release it. Yeah, I don't know. I put in the work, god damn it, Blizzard, you do me like this. But that's all right. It just means you get an extra 4 hours of me tomorrow. Oh god. I don't know if you can stand an extra 4 hours of me. I couldn't stand an extra 4 hours of me. That's not the problem. It's just a bit slow and clunky, but that's 5 man. What's the trinket on the first slot? Oh, that thing I just posted. Great question. Nope. That's not it. I've got so many tabs open. I imagine you're talking about House of Cards. If you are talking about House of Cards, it's going to be your pretty much must-take trinket next season. It's going to be... In current PTR iterations, this is going to be BIS for Shadowpan and BIS for Conduit. It's a 1 minute 30 mastery trinket, basically. Like, if you have Treacherous Transmitter, or even like Scardins, right, it works the exact same way. You press it and it gives you a buff of stats. But it's 1 minute 30, and the reason you're taking it is because it like nicely complements the fact that now we're going to be running Zwan's Bond for both Shadowpan and for Conduit of the Celestial. Which means that Zwan is every 1 minute 30 now, 100%. Like, it's not like, oh, he might be 130, he might be 140 in current season. Like, so it lines up, they complement each other really well. If you're talking about Eye of Kazan, though, it's a nice trinket from Chrome King Gallywix, which is just a kind of primary stat stick, right, that does some damage at the end of it. I'm like 80% sure it's a super rare. I know the ring is, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't have the PTR in front of me right now to know if that's a super rare. But both these trinkets come from the last... no, this is the third to last boss, and this is the last boss. The ring is from the last boss. What else? What other, like... I don't think there's much super... We have got some super rare loot. The ring, obviously. A lot of this loot isn't, like, too bad to get, actually. Yeah, it'll be the usual places, but yeah, trinkets are going to be a bit of a pain. This weapon comes from... Where does this weapon come from? I looked at it earlier, actually. It comes from, like, such a random place. It comes from the Priory of the Sacred Flame. Like, I don't know. I need to double check if this weapon... Like, obviously, I trust the sim. So in my mind, these are the best... This is your best setup at max gear. But I just want to know why the weapon, I think, is the question I'm going to try and find out. Why this weapon. My mind tells me it's because of the stats, right? I think maybe the stats are just that good. That it has to be the go-to weapon in compared to, like, another two-hander from the raid. Because I'm pretty sure there's a two-hander from the raid. I don't think I've gaslit myself on that. I'm pretty sure I'm wearing it on the PCR, actually. So I'm curious why this would come out on top, and my mind's it's just telling me I think it's stats. Haste mastery. Finally, Zwan lines. Yeah, I know, it's such a nice change, right? Like this quality of life came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was expecting them to touch on this talent, right? Like, that was such a curveball. They were just suddenly out of nowhere. They were like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to make this a static 30 seconds. And it was like, hold up. That's so nice, because, like, it's so infuriating when you're playing Conduit the Celestials, if you ever played it, to... Even Shadowpan, right, to an extent, you can run Swan's Bond in some situations, but, like, you try to line it up for the 1 minute 30, and it would always be slightly off, and it would just be so irritating. And it would also, like, delay cooldowns, right, for your next set of abilities, which eventually, like, you know, leads to maybe missing a cooldown at the end of a boss fight, which can lead to damage loss. So, yeah, I really love this quality of life change. I didn't think it would actually impact Shadowpan. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, genuinely didn't realize that this was even a thought for Shadowpan to use. I don't think a lot of monks did even consider this would be a use for Shadowpan, but I think because the mastery is going to be so good for us next tier, House of Cards they just complement each other so nicely. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. Is it something like killing the first few bosses and at some point having enough currency to just purchase some items? So I think what you're talking about is Dina? Dina? I don't know what the drama is at the moment, but because I haven't really read about that, but I'm pretty sure, like, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that was a thing, and they put it inside one of the reps, and then they removed it from one of the reps, and people lost their minds last week, like, absolutely lost their minds. And then I think Blizzard said they're going to bring it back in another form of content. I don't know if that's the exact same thing, because I'd never heard of Dina's before, so I did a little, like, looking, like, what they removed? Why is everyone losing their mind? And it sounds like it's that. It's the fact that you can actually... dinars, yeah, dinars. Yeah, it's the exact same thing as what you're talking about, Jackie. It's the having the being able to pick an item you want from the raid, right? That's awesome. I'd love that in the game, but they removed it from a rep, and the working theory that I've read is that they've removed it from a rep because they want to put it into something that's not rep related. So, like, if people just want to, like, you know, come back to this expansion at some point and farm rep, it's not something pointless for them to, yeah, I don't know. I've seen lots of different reasons why they've removed it, but I think they're implementing it in another way, but they haven't said yet. But that's going to be big, right? Because then you can actually get something you really want, like a super rare item. So, no complaints from me, but I'm not losing my mind about it. Mostly because I didn't know it existed until last week. Oh, God. New talents? Yes, Board Gamer, new talents for Season 2. These are what the PTR theory crafters have come up with, and these look like currently, if PTR went live tomorrow, snap fingers, PTR is now live, no more changes, whatever, this is what the build will look like for AoE. This is what the Sims, this is what the Magic Computer says are the best Shadowpan abilities. And if you're just tuning in, this is what the Conduit the Celestial ones look like. So if you want to... I did a massive spiel about this for an hour at the start of the stream, so if you want my insight onto any of these changes, watch the first hour of the stream, because I literally went through all of this for an entire hour. Like, genuinely, I covered everything on the talent builds and gear builds and stuff. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna try load up the PTR one more time, guys. But I'm like, I've said it enough, and I feel like bad. I feel like I'm copping out that I'm finishing the stream 2 hours because it's like no time. But I honestly want to. I don't want to do Mythic Plus dungeons on live. Like, that's not what we're here for. And it's just not up. I mean, it could be up in the next 2 minutes, but it might not. It might be up in the next 2 hours. So it feels like a cop out. But I'll stream tomorrow. I'll just make a thing and I'll stream it the exact. I might stream earlier tomorrow, but I'll make a post and I'll put a video out. And it'll be for tomorrow, and we'll actually go through PTR changes. We'll do all the dungeons, and we'll run this gear setup that you see right here. We'll run these new builds that have been cooked up for us by Kholer. Thank you, Kholer. Amazing work. And we'll actually get to see what Windwalker might look like in its final iteration. But please, this might not be the final iteration, so don't take my word for it. Disclaimer. But yeah, this is what it looks like right now. Yeah. I feel, yeah. I'm awkward at endings as it is. I promise I'll be tomorrow, exact same time, maybe 1 hour earlier, maybe 5 GMT, so I can actually get some daylight whilst I'm streaming, because I kind of hate streaming in the dark. I don't know if any of you live in the UK or live in, you know, countries nearby, but it gets dark at like 4 or 5 here, and I miss the daylight. It feels like bedtime when I'm streaming. I'm glad summer's around the corner, more or less, kind of. Okay. Thank you for everybody that watched. I hope that I did justice to explaining how these talent builds are going to potentially look next season. Going through them. I'll probably do a little bit of a quick overview of these tomorrow, but I'm not going to go into massive detail. I'm going to play them. I'm going to play them, and we're going to see firsthand how these actually play out. Super excited for Shadowpan, actually, to try it out with Zwan Spawn, but always more excited to play Conduit the Celestials because I love this hero talent. It is so fun. So fun. And you know what? The correct talent, correct trinkets and all this stuff, all this jazz. I prepared so much! Oh! Anyway. Thank you for anyone that watched, anyone that subbed, anybody that lurked, anybody that typed, anybody that gifted. I appreciate it all. You're all amazing, and I will see you tomorrow for my extra bonus Thursday stream, where we'll actually do some PTR. And if they don't release it by tomorrow, they're getting a strongly worded email. But yeah, I'll actually make an upload after this. So yeah, I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Thank you for everybody. Goodbye. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm finishing early.